Thanks and welcome back to Dusk, a Tulip podcast. And tonight we have the siblings. And we've been talking for a really long time and it's been incredibly unhinged. So we should have started 30 minutes ago. Hi, guys.
A splendid start.
Splendid start. A wonderful start. Tell us who you are. Go for it. Tell the people what they
I'll
want.
go if I must. My name's Anthony
brother.
Nuñez. I played Egglet in the OG version and the Fringe version. And I'm still a current student at Gannon, doing theater things, all that jazz. Nothing too special.
Amazing. I am my name is Beck. I played Rosalind, or Rosalie, and yeah, just for the Fringe, which was amazing. Jumped right in it.
And tell the people where you're from, because it's not obvious.
Oh, I'm from Australia. Good old Australia. Haven't lost the accent yet. I've been in London for like a year and a half, and I feel like honestly my accent's stronger than ever. I don't know what's happened. It's kind of done a switch.
My accent has done the exact same thing. Some days I'm like general American, I can do it, and other days I'm so Southern. Just like that.
Yeah.
Revert into your home accent just so intensely.
I feel like the American accent when we did the show spun it a bit. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. You want to talk a little bit about what it was like to learn an American accent and any words that gave you pause?
No. Okay, so I was actually so intimidated because I was shocked, not the best at an American accent, and then I was with nearly all American, so I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna stand out like so bad, like such a sore thumb. But I kind of got there just. I still didn't feel too confident, but I think the one word, wait, can you guess, Anthony, what the word was? That was my hardest.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because you would always say it before.
Like I get you to say it to me backstage. I'll be like, what is it? What is
Yeah.
it?
Because as soon as Cosette mentioned this, I was like, she'd always repeat the same thing over and over. And I
It was
cannot
like
remember.
a prayer. Right before you went on stage, it was like a prayer.
I can't remember.
The gym powder stuff.
As soon as you say it, I'm gonna remember.
Creatine.
Creatine. Oh.
I swear I wonder what when I said it the first that said like, what did I say? I'd have been like creatine.
Yeah, you said it exactly like that. It was like good, like a solid American accent. And then you just slipped so far into the Aussie accent. That one word.
Because I'm shouting it backstage. Creatine! It's like, no. No. I remember like the looks everyone gave me, which was no, creatine.
I remember when we got mics towards the end there, we were like, you can't say it. You can't start saying it. Because you would say it backstage, you'd be like, creatine. And then we're like, we've got mics, oh no. So
the best one was someone was like, I need to do a shit, and then that played during our recording. I love that.
Wasn't that Eve?
So
yeah, that was Eve.
That's the story I tell people back home.
Yeah, she hasn't been on yet. I cannot wait to unpack that with her eventually.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. 100%. That kind of like beautifully and seamlessly goes into one of my questions, which is, what is your most unhinged moment you experienced during the Fringe? Either on stage, backstage, with or without involving the show?
I've actually spent a lot of time thinking about this.
Okay. Well, I feel like you should go first. That sounded deep.
Well, the thing is I spent a lot of time thinking about it, but I don't know if I can, like, I don't know what it would be. I think one thing Unhinged. Can I get a formal definition, please?
So
What is unhinged for 200?
when I was talking with I'll give you examples. When I was talking with the ensemble, I brought up the people wearing absolutely very little clothing, like butterfly kisses worth of clothing, and carrying a casket up the stairs. Was a very unhinged moment. Another unhinged
Yeah,
moment was when my shawl got caught on the fire extinguisher and I rinsed onto the stage.
yeah. How did I not know this?
I don't know because Andy perfectly covered. He perfectly covered me in that moment.
That was
We were
you
on
dragged
stage.
the fire extinguisher on stage. You're on stage. You
Oh,
don't know.
I remember.
Okay.
So it was me, Lizzie, Helen, and Dylan. We were all going to watch Oppenheimer. So it wasn't the actual Oppenheimer that was the issue. It was getting to Oppenheimer. I told them to meet at this specific time outside of Harriet Watt, whatever place we were living at. I don't even remember. Uh, and it was like we have to make it at this time because that'll give us more than enough time to walk there and like get on the train, just wait for the train. And then Lizzie and Helen come out like 5 minutes after, which is like, oh, that's fine. We can still make it. And then we're just waiting outside for Dylan. Dylan's like, I text him. I'm like, are you still coming? He's like, yeah, I'm just getting ready. And then he like grabs, because we have to carry our costume bags. And that is the worst part. So my thing's heavy. It broke. The handle broke at least like 3 times. 4. And I was had to ask Angela to re-sew it. And so Dylan's like 12 minutes late. And so we're realizing we're not going to make it. So we start running with our costume bags on like this tiny little sidewalk that probably fits a one person total. So we were all running in a line next to this roads where every car is going like, I don't know, 60 miles per hour. And then we don't make it. We miss the bus or train. And then I have to get the Uber to go. It was a whole process. And I think about it a lot. It's my Roman Empire of the trip. So that's it was one of the only moments where I was like, I'm actually annoyed at Dylan really bad.
That is
All the
so
bromance.
tame compared to everyone else's unhinged story, but I'll give it to you, little bro. It's okay.
Sounds like trauma, just a splash.
I feel like there might be something else that I remember that's a bit more, but for the time being,
Or something else that you have blocked out.
yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Okay, so what comes to mind, I can't get out of my head. I have to say it. It's probably going to come up. But then I have my own unhinged. But the most unhinged thing I witnessed was when we all just went a bit mad. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock. We just all go a bit cuckoo. And especially when we're at, which university was it with the theatre room? The black theatre room?
That was at Harriet Watt.
Yeah, and everything just started going a bit crazy. And I remember like we were all just dancing straight after baseball choreography. And Jamie got in the doona, like the duvet. Do you remember that? And was dancing inside the duvet and then ripped it at Angela's face. Oh my God. That's probably the weirdest thing I've ever seen, like that man inside the duvet. That was probably the most unhinged. And then in terms of my most unhinged was probably my accommodation, which was just,
Oh yeah.
I had this landlord, a Scottish man called Jace. Him and his mum owned the local fish and chip shop. Like they were really cute, really Scottish. Anyway, we rocked up. We'd never met. I was with Zia and Eve. And yeah, we rocked up. There was other people living in our room. That was the whole thing. So we had to like stay in his weird flat out the back, which had like no carpet and nails and just no bedding, and it was just dodgy as. And then like Eve's luggage didn't arrive, so she didn't have clothes for a few days. And then, but anyway, we turned it around. It became unhinged. He used to drive us every morning with snacks from the bakery and random soft drinks, and he drove us into our rehearsals with like random rap remixes from YouTube with the ads, and it was just very, very unhinged, and we had like pride flags all over the house. We did karaoke every night. So it was very fun, but just very unhinged, very unstable. But
Wow.
yeah.
I remember when you got to your accommodation and I had like just met you and it was like me and three other people being like, are you safe? Do y'all need to
Oh,
like
I
stay
also
with
remember
us? Like, I don't know you, but I already know I can provide you more safety than this person who sounds so
And
sketchy.
it was so sketchy. Like, thank God he was a good person in the end. And he was just very rough Scotsman, but it just was very dodgy. Like, I was sleeping in his bed and I'm like, what is going on? Yeah, dodgy. Anyways,
We love fringe experiences. We love fringe experiences.
we do. We
Can't beat
do.
Speaking of fringe experiences, how did you find yourselves in the Twilight parody musical in Edinburgh, Scotland? I don't think I've asked either of you your audition story or how you got coerced into being a part of this narrative.
Yeah, I found it on TikTok actually. We love
How
it.
about Facebook?
Facebook.
Facebook.
How did you come across that?
It came across my Facebook one day. One of the casting pages that I'm on, it just came across. And I was like, this is funny. And I took a screenshot of it. And then I was like, no, actually, I should audition for this.
Yeah.
And here we
And
are.
you found it on TikTok.
I found it on TikTok and I did Fleabag as my audition. I don't know what happened there. It was the pre-scene, if anyone knows.
Of course it was the pre-scene.
Yeah, and that landed me Rosalind. I don't know.
Something worked. I was in what was I? What was I doing? I don't know what I was doing, but I was in our theater. I think I was helping out because I just do random stuff. I was talking with Angela and she was on the phone with Morgan and they're like, yeah, we just can't find anyone for Eglet or who was it? It was Eglet and Julius. And then Morgan was like, well, I mean, I think you could do a good job doing it. And then like I had a whole crisis for like 3 minutes about like, am I about to fly to Scotland in less than a month, perform a show for an entire month, go to school late, but also spend a certain amount of money. It was like so many thoughts all at once. And then I talked to my bosses because I was working like two jobs at the moment at the time. They're just on campus, so they're pretty like flexible. And they're like, "What are you doing here?" So they were really encouraging. And next thing you know, I bought a plane ticket and I talked to all my family, and then I was doing it.
So what was your biggest fear coming into the process here?
I think my biggest fear was I didn't think I would be like I'm trying to be nice, but I didn't think I'd be good enough, if that makes sense. Like I had only ever been in like an educational setting or like a community setting. So I'd never been in some like in a setting where like, oh, people want to do this as their jobs, like they take it all seriously. They're here to like put in work. And I had been around people who have done it in the past, but like I've never had like a whole show. And so that was my biggest worry. Like I know I can perform a show. I know I can remember, and like I know I can do all that. But it was just like a whole new environment. Plus, like traveling to Europe, I had never traveled across the pond before. Um, I've only ever gone south to like Mexico, and so I was familiar with traveling. Like I'm pretty competent, I like to think. But it was also just because I'd never been here, and it was nice having like Morgan there, Dylan. My professors, everybody there, like initially, um, just so I had like some familiar faces because I'm not always going to be the first person to open up, but just give me like a week and I'll be fine.
Makes sense. What about you? What was your biggest fear coming into it?
Oh, I felt it the first day. Like it felt like we were back at school again with that like long read, and I was, oh my God, I was terrified. And I remember we had a break and I ran downstairs and was in the bathroom like doing to sing. I was like, ah. Can't remember who caught. Someone caught me because I came out of the bathroom and someone was just like, "You're good." I'm like, "Okay." Ah. And I
That's
was just
funny.
really scared. But then as the read went along, like I could tell everyone was just supporting each other. And like I swear, like even halfway through, I was like, no, these are like great people. This is gonna be awesome. But yeah, that will be the scariest moment for me. Just feeling like it was that first day of school again, like and some of you already knowing each other, that like threw me off as well, even though it's
Mhm.
great, But at the time I was like, oh, God, am I gonna fit? It was just silly. But everyone was a bit nervous to some extent.
I brought this up with Dan when I recorded with him, but the fact that he also threw a curveball at all of us by giving us different orchestrations for the table read than the ones we had been working with for the last, I don't know, month and a half. So we were all not
Yeah,
only
I forgot
meeting
about
each
that.
other, we were meeting each other for the first time, but also singing through the different orchestrations for the first time.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember when we first sang
Yeah.
I Know It Is Best. Oh, bro, I was so scared. I was like, I'm gonna mess this up. I'm gonna sound bad. Like, it's not even hard, but I'm gonna mess something up. Like, oh, I don't like. I had so many things, and then we like actually did like rehearsal on it, and it was fine. But like, I was so nervous for that too, just singing.
Oh, alternate unhinged moment. The spider room.
Oh, the
When
spider
we
piano
When the
room.
spy
the spider room, when we went back into that little closet area at Harriet Watt and we rehearsed I Know What's Best, and there were all those spiders on the walls. Ugh.
Yes.
Any other unhinged experiences we want to air to the room, to our siblings?
There'd just be the times where we'd all lose it on stage. That was really funny. That was bad. Because when I looked and Cosette had lost it, I was like, no one's safe. No one is safe.
Oh yeah,
I talked about that with Zia.
Zia's.
Zia was like, because I've tried to get Cosette to break so many times. And then that one night that I actually did it, and I was like, I was afraid for my life the night that I broke because I
We,
broke so hard. I could not
I
continue.
know.
I used Anthony and I used Andy and I used Jamie as meat shields.
But all I could see was you, and I saw you lost it, and I was like, I'm not safe. I'm gone. Because you were always the one that kind of kept it together. I do have one more moment that was really fun, but we can cut it, Anthony, if you don't want it in there. Just see how, yeah.
Okay.
No, but it was just a really funny moment. Like, I lost it again in character, which was bad because it's the moment where I'm like the most furious in the show with the salad. So I had to like keep it together. But pretty much, our end pose where like we're like all posed. You just had the tiniest little voice crack, and only I would have heard it, right?
Oh, I think
But
it was like
then,
it was like one of our afternoon performances. I think it was like one of our first ones, and I was not warm whatsoever. I woke up at like
it
12.
was tiny, like no one else would hear it, but I hear it because he's
Yeah.
right in my ear. And then his
Uh-huh.
hands are on my shoulders, and he just grabs on for dear life. He's like, oh, and like squeezing, and I'm like, stop, and then I was just laughing, but my wig thankfully covered my face, so I could be like, but yeah, that was also, we don't have to put that in there, but that was like a really funny moment. It got me. It was very fun, but no one knew, that's fun. No one knows,
Especially in the big numbers, if anyone ever flubbed anything, it was really, really easy to cover up. Luckily, because
Oh
it's
yeah.
a parody also. It's not life or death. If something happens, no one's
Mhm.
gonna know that it's not a part of the predetermined comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
However, another unhinged thing that takes up not an insignificant amount of brain space every once in a while is remembering how many times, Anthony, you came in from off stage as I was changing, and Ault flung the door open, and there'd just be like so many people going to the bar, and I'd just be stood there with just my strapless bra and like 4 pairs of tights on and shorts. I just
It felt so weird going out there with my muscle suit. Like I would go out there just to cool down, but I'm just wearing pants and a muscle suit because I have to go on for Jason for my little run, my 1 second debut. And so I'm just chilling out there waiting, and everyone just kind of looks at me, and they know what I'm doing. They know it's a show, but it still just feels a little funny when they're not there for the show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think because like the three of us would also like do our quick changes relatively close to one another. Like we got to see some of the like really raw, unhinged moments that each one of us experienced. And I think it was show like 21 where I came off stage and the underwire of my bra had popped out of my costume.
No.
No way.
Working girl, you were popping.
I was like, oh my God, there's something stabbing me. Like I thought like Angela had like put a pin or something in my costume. And I was like, oh my God. And I like reached in and my underwire of my bra had just full on just like ascended. Yeah. And it popped out. Yeah. I was like, I can no longer work under these conditions.
Yeah, she's risen.
You know what? I don't blame it. I don't blame it.
No, the grossest part though was realizing that the underwire in my bra had rusted through.
I think
because it was so hot in there.
It adds up.
And we were just absolutely dying because all of us were wearing so many costumes most of the time. Like Anthony, you were wearing so many layers.
I felt so bad for you in that prom scene every time.
That scene, and then the beginning of the show, and then Act 2 were murderous.
Do we want to even talk about the gauntlet that was Meet the Family?
The gauntlet of Meet the Family? Honestly, it was the best and worst part. So many ways.
Specifically, I would like to bring up when we went absolutely feral those last like 3 times we did Meet the Family, and we broke
honestly, those were like
so many plates.
Those were like the best times though.
It was so fun. It was so fun. I miss it so much. Oh,
I think there were a few times with the towel that I accidentally actually full on whipped you with it.
You gave me a little whip on my bum and I'd be like, oh, Cosette.
Dude, there were so many times. I think more times than not, you did hit me. And like it didn't hurt that bad.
You never told me that I needed to stop for that it hurt you.
Well, I thought it was like my reactions were genuine. Like my fear was real. Like I wasn't acting up there. Like I was holding on for Andy and Jamie so that they would protect me. It wasn't fake. All right, my life was at stake up there.
But I think because we had such like a sibling relationship off stage that it like really, really transferred to the stage every once in a while, and we just be so ridiculously unhinged with one another on stage.
I really want to see like a comparison of like our first time doing Meet the Family, during the previews, and our last day, because those are two completely different groups.
I was talking with some of the understudies about this because I remember like halfway through the run, Helen coming up to me and being like, please don't get sick. This is a completely different show than the one that we rehearsed 3 weeks ago. I can't cover for you. And
honestly, though, I think Helen would slay, but I know completely what she means. Because like nothing of what was planned, blocked, didn't just did not happen.
Which was
We
the
just made it
beauty of
work.
it. Yeah, it would be quite
Yeah.
intimidating.
Oh yeah. We left everything on that stage most days, mostly because it was so hot, we had no choice.
Oh my God, sorry, I just remembered the unhinged. Unhinged.
Oh, take it back.
Cut that out. The other unhinged moment when I nearly went decks up, and you had to like put your hand on the table to stop me flipping off the table, and the whole thing was like,
yeah.
boom. And you were like, boom, held that down. That was scary. That was
time,
scary.
honey? It happened multiple times. The time that I realized there was a screw loose, the time that I realized that there was a screw on the stage that we could not account for.
Yeah.
Towards the end, Cosette
was
was just always there. She'd always just be like,
yeah, I made
Ready.
it part of the thing. I'd be like,
Yeah, you were
incredulous, holding onto the table, also like, girl, if you fall, I got you.
No, you were amazing for that, honestly. But I was terrified getting off the table every time when Andy, when you like helped me get down. I used to be like so sad at the start. I used to just jump down, and then luckily I like sat and then got off. But I used to just be like, you.
Ooh, that table saw some stuff.
that table has seen. Yeah.
It's seen things.
It has gone through
that table has a
things.
lifetime full of stories.
After a
It
month.
really does.
A month of usage
Literally.
it has seen things.
It
Who knows where it is
broken
now?
and broken.
Who
I know.
knows where
I
that
think
It's
like
probably not
didn't like
scary.
an audience member or like some Greenside worker take it.
I don't know. I have one of the stools right here that my laptop is sitting on.
Hey, that's cool.
So I know they spent like the whole last week trying to find people to take things. Because
Yeah.
I don't know. Nothing we could do with them.
Yeah, it's not like you're gonna fly them back to the United States.
But we got them shipped. We bought them while we were in Scotland. So I say
Yeah.
we as if I was part of the process, but
A lot of things just started arriving at our flat. And we were like, oh, how are we gonna get these things to Harriet Watt?
What?
It was like giant boxes too. It wasn't little boxes.
did you get the
Oh
table?
my God.
Yeah, we got the tables. Both of them.
I put those together.
Yeah, well, they came in very large boxes
That checks out.
into our flat. And like, I think Sarah and I were both home and we were just like writing our dissertations, being like, somebody here, did you order something? And they're just like, no, did you? I'm like, no. One of the tables we got the text afterwards of like, hey, you're gonna get a delivery today. So we were just like,
You're like, oh no, we got a delivery.
we got it already. It's already here. We're good.
Yeah, thanks for the heads up. It's actually, yeah, here.
Actually, like downstairs, chilling with some dust bunnies and our other housemate's bike. Like,
Yeah.
I actually have another unhinged moment.
Okay.
Was our maybe do we keep this on the DL? It was our game time at Cosette's place, Cosette's crib. That whole sesh was pretty unhinged.
that was pretty unhinged. The other
And
day,
then we all
Wyatt,
slept.
yeah, the other day Wyatt was like, yeah, I don't think we can have more than like 6 people over here. Like our house just isn't big enough. And I was like, honey,
Lies.
we're having most of the Dusk cast like laying on every available surface.
Like my feet were on the couch and my head was on some other thing. Like I was at like
An angle.
and I was sleeping at an angle. And then that was also the night where I had to steal Dylan's white shirt to tear for our evening show.
I just distinctly remember walking into my bedroom and having 4 people on my bed and 2 on the floor and being like, all right, it was fine.
Yeah, I wish I came. I never heard about this mass napping. That sounds so fun though.
Yeah, we were playing Jackbox for a while, and then Allie fell asleep on the floor, and we were like, honey, we have couches and like pillows and blankets. Do you want one? And she was like, what? And then we ate pizza, and then all of a sudden it was like down, 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 down.
Yeah, the pizza took us out.
Everyone, it was just out.
Also, large pizzas over there are not large,
No, they're like the size of medium pizzas in the States,
and I will never get over that part. That's all.
but they do taste better.
They do taste good. Quantity over quality here in Anthony World.
Well, you are also a college male.
True, I'll take anything I can eat.
Which I think kind of segues into another question of we all dealt with illness and fatigue through the fringe. What were some of your coping strategies? What did you experience? Like what was it like navigating performing 27 shows and juggling your mental and physical health?
I'm not gonna lie, I was very optimistic. And then yeah, I think it was I think because we did the recording initially, and I felt like that was the best show I did. My vocals were strong, and I was like, woo, woo. Now, like, whatever happens, happens. But then the recording, got pushed back. And that was my hell week. And it was when we were doing double shows. And honestly, my method was just get as much sleep as I could. Like I would just finish the show, race home for the bus, sleep as many hours as I could fit in, up again, sleep in the breaks between the shows. Like I don't know what I had, but it was something like I'd never felt that exhaustion with a sickness before. It was not good. But I remember being backstage with my jars of honey. I had like 2 set up honey stations, which was disgusting. But yeah, no, I would just be shoveling honey down my throat, like squeezing it down before I ran on while doing creatine, honey, creatine. Yeah. It was not, I think, but then also not missing out too much on all the social things, even if I just go for a little bit, because then mentally it's like keeping your spirits up as well, like keeping you distracted from it. But I think it was a bit rough. I think everyone had a different rough point. But I was just spewing that mine happened to be the double show week. But we got through.
I think I think it was also the double show week. That was really hard. Like prior to that, like as long as I got a full night of rest, I was ready to go at it the next day. As long as I definitely did consume a lot of energy drinks towards like the middle end of my trip there, just because like I had to. I made it like 2 weeks with no energy drinks, which I was proud of. And like I felt like I was eating fine. I was walking so much, so I didn't feel too bad. I actually lost weight while I was there, just 'cause I was walking like 15,000 steps. Because every time I could, I would just go into the city and walk around. Because I was like, I'm here. I'm gonna like do as much as I can. But that double show week, dude, showing up with the warm Greg's sausage roll and my Lucozade, my Lucozade, I was ready for anything you could throw at me. I was basically, I think my whole thing was just being hydrated and not doing anything on an empty stomach. Those were like my main things, because I would not be in a good boat, like doing anything on an empty stomach or like without having at least like some electrolytes in me. I like to think my youthfulness helped me a bit. We're all pretty young, but I don't know, like I'm pretty resilient. Don't want to brag or anything.
Insert eye roll here.
The silence was loud.
Silence is big. You guys were killing me with chugging the energy drinks right before going on stage. I was like, y'all are gonna have a heart attack on stage.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I was like, it's too hot in there to be drinking energy drinks.
I loved it.
It was the
I
perfect time.
swear Dusk was sponsored by Lewis Hamilton. Wait, we sponsored him? I don't know. Some way. His
I don't
energy
really know.
drinks, man. I everywhere.
There's actually one day of Dusk I didn't have water. And so I had to go into the bar to grab a cup of water to drink, and then I would go back in. But it was always so great
No.
once the show ended, just chugging the rest of my water. And then the
Mhm.
first thing
Yeah.
I would do is like get the next drink I could, wherever it was, wherever I could find something to drink.
Yeah, the worst thing the worst thing to experience in the middle of the show was needing to pee
Mm,
I never did.
and being enveloped by so many varied layers, marinating in the backstage heat and humidity, and then being like, once I take these tights off once, they will never feel the same again.
oh no.
It
Oh
only
no.
happened, it only happened like once or twice, but they were memorable times of being like the next time I went on stage, I was like, something ain't sitting right, but I'm going on.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God.
I think
Oh my
the worst part for me was like I would get sweaty with like my muscle suit, like basically my entire chest and my back. And the times I would just stand in front of that AC to cool off, and then it would touch my skin again, and then I just get all cold and wet. Ugh.
God.
Oh,
Oh my God.
also the double show days. I forgot to mention this. Having to do my laundry every single time because I'm wearing every single layer all the time. And I would literally have sweat marks on my prom shirt every night that I would have to wash.
No, I think
Oh
the
my
worst part of the double show days was there not being enough time in between shows for the first show sweat to dry.
literally. Literally.
So
Yeah.
you're just like resigning yourself to the fact that you have to put on a slightly damp costume
Yeah.
for
To,
the
Right,
third
okay.
day in a row.
to be fair, everyone likes, I don't remember anyone smelling bad unless it was me. But like, I feel like we all like, yes, we were all drowning in the sweat. We all knew it, but it wasn't like too, it was just like you felt gross in yourself. I don't remember anyone ever like smelling.
I don't either. I think we were all very cognizant of that fact. And I, for one, doused myself in perfume and deodorant.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah, I
consistently.
had
I had
deodorant on me, had that
yeah.
Febreze
Febreze.
savior.
Yeah.
I think the worst was when my feather boa like used to stick like it was my
Yeah,
moment to be like heart moment, and then I lifted my armpits and the feather boa had gone underneath and it looked like I had feathers coming from my armpits. I'm like, oh my God. And then the one time I can't remember who it was, but I moved my scarf and they were every night at the end of the show, they were all stuck across my back, all these feathers. It was like black swan. I just like pull them all off. They were like stuck. Like that was sweat. But I will say really quickly, another thing that got me through the like was the love of my life over there was tablet. I still miss it. It just gave me so much energy. It was just like so sweet. It'd be like a little treat. Yeah, no, tablet. It's my savior.
Yeah, to get through the 27 show days, all I was doing was the show. But I did work part-time and I was doing my dissertation at the same time. So it was like I didn't see any of the shows. I saw one show during the entire Fringe. I
that's
was like,
crazy.
I wasn't taking public transit because I was like, so many people are ill.
Hmm.
So many people are ill right now. And so it was just like masking, walking, masking and walking, drinking so much water, sleeping as much as humanly possible just to survive, just to get through it.
Yeah.
If you had to tell yourself a piece of advice, if you had to go back and do the Fringe again, knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself?
Do you know, Anthony?
Yeah, I have an answer in mind.
You want to go?
Yeah, I think my one issue was just making time for like my family and friends back home because that's probably the hardest part. And where like I couldn't talk to my family or like my girlfriend because like the 5 hour difference like is pretty big, especially when like I'm busy for most of the day with like either rehearsal or like I'm watching a show. And the service there wasn't always the greatest either. So I couldn't just like make a call randomly or like I couldn't just randomly FaceTime. Um, and I feel like that was like one part of me that was missing while I was there, was just like that aspect that I'm like so used to these people and I just can't talk to them. Or I'm like I I wish I did make time for them because I think that would have helped me a lot with like getting adjusted to just being there, but also like keeping in touch and like just being, good in a way. Like just being good and like keeping touch. So yeah, I think that would be my number one because it was always hard to like find a time because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing my show from 10 to 1 a.m. or whatever. But then like, okay, we can call it like 1:30, but it's like 1:30 a.m. for me. And like, you don't like, I'd be FaceTiming my girlfriend and it's like, it's a perfectly fine time for you. I really want to go to bed. And so we talked for like 30 minutes because prior to that, I've been in the city the whole day. And so that part was really hard. And I didn't know that it would be as big of a problem as it was beforehand. So I wish that was something I think would have been really awesome to tell my past self.
That's totally fair. You know what? I didn't even think of that until you said it, and then I realized, I went so off the grid, and like my friends, well, obviously Australia was quite hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hardly spoke to like my family back home who were like, "How's the show?" And I'd be like, "Good." And like 5 days later, and they're like, "What's going on?" And then even my friends back in London, which isn't even a time difference, but it was just so demanding that like
Yeah.
whenever I had time, my phone was off, like I was just asleep. So yeah, I can't like, yeah, that would be really hard, like having a partner and stuff. Because I even felt bad for my friends because I was like, oh my God, I haven't spoken to you properly in 2 weeks. Like, what's going on? Like, yeah. So that's actually something I would work on too. And then, I don't know, maybe I think I had a pretty good balance, but I definitely swung more towards put yourself first, like sleep, like do all this. And now looking back, I'm like, oh, I probably could have loosened it up a little bit sometimes. I had a bit more social fun, but who knows how that would have affected me. But I definitely try to keep that like self-care number one. But yeah, I think next time if I ever did it again, it would just be a lot more relaxed. But I guess we all know what we're expecting now, and it would
Yeah.
be a bit more chill. But I feel like on the whole, it was a fun environment. Everyone opened up and like gave it their all. So I feel like there's definitely no regrets, just like little things like that would be like more relaxed and like maybe manage your time a bit better. But then, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit hard because like going into something blindly, like you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
You don't know how the process is going to go. You don't know anybody. Like, you know.
Those of us who had done the Fringe before, we did our best to kind of warn you guys what it actually was like, and all of y'all were like, oh, we're gonna be fine, it's gonna be great, and then everyone was just like, this is different than I thought it would be, and we're just like, yes, little babies, it's okay, come on, we've got you, let's do this.
Yeah, no, literally. I think I'd be a bit less angry as well. I'd just be a lot more chill and just be like, look, it is what it is. But I think we're all very stressed, and add that on top of it, that pressure. Yeah, it was stressful, but I think I would just be a lot more easy breezy.
Yeah, but now that you've been through a fringe, you have that kind of hindsight going forward.
Yeah.
Because presumably this was the longest running show you guys have both been in, right?
Yeah.
So now you know. And probably the hardest way to learn.
It was
Yeah,
just
but like it
because
was very nice, like eye-opening. It wasn't like not doable. Like I think we were all perfectly capable. But it was just like I don't know. I don't think I would. I think it was a great experience. Um, I think we just learned a lot, like working under pressure, working in crazy conditions. So I think if we got anything, we learned a ton of just very specific things. But I think you might find yourself in those positions more often than not.
yeah. And I was gonna say I think it was hard because like this show, it was like kind of our world at the time. We'd all come from like home pretty much, or like our schedules were lost. Like it wasn't the same as like, for example, me living in London and like I was in a show, so every like night I'd go in, but I would still have like my routine, my space, my people
Mhm.
around me. This is like kind of like it was just that stress of like every second this was on our minds, like this show, and it was like I don't know. I think that maybe added to it. But yeah, it was an amazing experience, and I definitely looked up to both of you two in like different ways because you both were just I don't know, all the same ways. You just have a lot of the same similar qualities, and you were like strong people for others. Like a lot of people depended on the two of you, whether it was for like a laugh or whether it was for like support. Like I feel like you two were very pivotal to our cast, and a lot of people needed you, myself included.
The problem
Oh yeah,
solvers.
yeah. If I'm being
Yeah,
honest, I was like super scared to meet everybody, and I don't know why in particular. I think it's just because we were like together in our scenes, me and Beck. But I was like super scared. I was like, "Oh, dude, what if she's like? She's gonna be so cool, and I'm just like some weird kid. Like I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just some random person out here." But then, like, I talked to you, and then you were like the nicest person in the entire world, and I was like, okay, we're fine.
I was just gonna say I feel like we were a little bit shy with each other at the start, like
Yeah.
like we were being really nice and ourselves, but we weren't like fully opening up. So then when we did, oh my God, it just like was so great for our characters as well. Yeah, it was just
Oh
awesome.
yeah. Like that first, like we had that one rehearsal that was in that one classroom, and then like we were just like workshopping things, and we were still like a little awkward, but it was like that moment where I was like, we're gonna be fine. Like there's
Yeah,
nothing to worry
a
about.
100%. And then it was so fun when that was just like, I mean, it
Hmm.
was fun from the start, but when all of us got more comfortable
Oh yeah.
with each other. Jeez. Like our sibling relationship, like coming out in different ways, like that was so fun.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, it was nice. It's nice. I miss you guys. I miss you. I miss you both.
I know this makes me sad. Like this
Yeah,
is
I know.
amazing, but like even when we got on with Morgan, I was like, oh, it hit me like in the feels. I was like, damn. Like I do really, really miss it. But it doesn't feel like it's been, I don't know. I love how much in contact we all keep, even
Hmm.
if it's just a silly little like it's still it still feels very like relevant. It's not like everyone's just ghosted each other at all.
Yeah.
Even almost half a year later.
Oh, don't say that.
Oh,
September, October,
what?
November, December, January.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't like time. Time's freaking me out at the moment.
Time is flying by.
It's been 5 whole months since we've seen each other, since we've worked with one another. Isn't that crazy?
That's insane. I thought it was a couple months, honestly. Like 2, 1.5. I don't know. It does not feel like 5. That's insane.
It doesn't even feel like time is going by fast. It's just hard to believe that it's been that long.
Yeah.
Especially once you spent like every day together for more than a month.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just loved it though. It was just so fun. It wasn't like I was back at school for the immature stuff, but it was in the sense that like we were all like really just, I feel like just fun versions of ourselves. Like
Hmm.
the play allowed us to bring out. But I feel like, yeah, it was just like every day we're like time to go rest. Like it was just so goofy and fun and like silly. I miss it. I miss it. Everyday life's boring. I want to be back just hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, during the show it was weird because I felt so calm through all of the chaos. I was like, we can do it. It's gonna be fine. We can do it.
I love that.
Which I think is part of the reason why you're like, everyone needed you. I was like, yeah, because I knew we were gonna get through it one way or another. So
Hmm.
what's to panic about?
That's
Yeah.
true.
The show's gonna happen whether or not that person has a mic pack. The show's gonna happen whether or not that prop makes it on stage. Like,
Yeah, literally. Like the show must go on, straight up.
And the funnier the better. The funnier I cannot, this whole conversation, I haven't been able to let go of you dragging on the fire extinguisher. Like that is like such a key image in my brain right now.
I fully like went on for that interaction with you and me, Anthony, where I'm like, oh, look at him. Eventually he'll graduate. That whole bit where I like chase you around and I felt it come off the wall. And Andy wasn't supposed to go on until like a few seconds later. But because
Hmm.
I accidentally ripped the fire extinguisher off the wall,
How do I not remember this?
I don't know, because it made such a huge noise too.
I was just so in the scene that anything happening outside just didn't exist.
It ripped fully off the wall, it like dragged me back. And I just kept on with the scene. I was like, oh, look at him. He looks so cute, this little hat. And Andy somehow, it like very quickly got it off of my sweater and like threw it back into that little vestibule, which was not big enough for two people to stand in. And
Mm-mm.
Andy is not a small person.
Andy saved the
So
show
He's
numerous times.
on
very broad.
he
And
was
both of us standing back there. That's how it got caught because it just ripped it straight off the wall.
with the fire extinguisher.
You know,
Oh
made
Andy
us
my
Andy
butt
saved our show
sound.
so many times. It's crazy.
Literally. He's just, I think what it is we all have the intuition to do something, but he just has the confidence to be like, it just happens. Like he just instinctually does
Hmm.
it. Whereas like we all want to help and do things, but I often be like, oh my God, what do I do? That time I'm like, oh my God, what should I do? He's already acted on it. And I'm like, damn, like that, his intuition and just does it.
Yeah.
Which I mean, really worked for him too, but I don't know. Yeah, he was a lifesaver. Definitely.
There were
Definitely.
several times during the show where like he would come up to me and say something to me, like an observation, or like I would make an observation to him and we would just like fix things.
Yeah. Yeah. You were on it. On it.
Just like scoping it out all the time.
Like, hang on.
Interesting.
Should we?
A little Cosette Andy observation, like some spies, detectives.
Well, I'll name a few. When Dylan forgot to come on
No,
for that
wait.
one scene and he was halfway
Oh,
through
and he
his
was
play. Yeah, that moment.
and we were like, "Where are you?"
Multiple times where someone's shoe was untied. So him tying people's shoes was a through line. He tied my shoes a few times because I was in that dress.
Mm.
When props were not on stage that should have been on stage, the amount of times I was like, can you go get that? Or he'd be like, I'm going to go get this. And then notably, the horrible moment, that horrible moment that happened on stage, where I just turned around and said, help.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Healthy did.
Oh my God, that was hard. Just
I
because
was
half of us,
frozen. I was like a statue. I
I
was like,
Yeah.
and then we just awkwardly continued with the scene, and it was so stressful. Oh God. Oh no. But luckily, it was all fine in the end. But still,
yeah.
that was crazy. Like just, whew.
So
Yes.
pivoting to the Twilight.
Oh, brother.
So a little birdie actually told me, Anthony, that you had to have Twilight explained to you
Hmm.
when when you took when you were asked to perform the role because you had never seen it.
This is very true.
So what's your relationship with Twilight now after performing in it for so long?
The amount of references that I learned the first time I did it and the second time I did it was too many, considering I've done it, whatever. So my relationship with Twilight is um kind of like it's a situationship.
Situationship.
Like we've had our close moments, but we never really talked about it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think about these characters and their relationship?
I didn't know we were doing an analysis.
No, I'm just curious because you know that this bit of media is so important to
Yeah.
a lot of people, and now people are realizing that hey, some of these relationships are actually huge red flags. So what's your analysis
So
of these relationships?
I think a lot of it is the tension between Bella and Edwin. I'm purposely changing their names for funsies. Um, how I'm really trying to think of things. Hold on. Let me cook. Let me cook. Let me cook.
I'll jump in to the kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Save it.
I'm doing my phone a friend.
Yeah, so I love the fan fiction theory that I think Alice is definitely queer.
Oh, definitely.
But
100%.
biggest crush. I think I don't know, man. I just find it so weird that like Rosalie was picked for like Edward's lover, but then it's like, nah, she's just my sister. I don't know. I find that really off. And then I just love what Jamie did with Dr. Daddy, because he is just hella creepy. And genuinely, him and Christian Stewart had the best on-screen chemistry. But even though she was picking between these two lovers, vampire werewolf,
Mm.
the chemistry was right with the dad. So I don't know. It was all just very sexual. And to be honest, wait, I don't know if this is appropriate, so cut it if it's not appropriate. But I remember having crushes on just all of them and then being like, who am I? Because I was like, Rosalie, banging. I was really weirdly into Jasper. I don't know. Let's not go there. But everyone, I was like, banging, banger. And then I was like, who am I? Anyway. Yeah, it's just one of those movies. There's just a lot of unnecessary sexual tension everywhere you turn. And yeah, rewatching them again throughout this process, I'm like, no, I definitely wasn't crazy. There is a lot of tension between the movie characters. We made it very silly and fun, but you know, that's my thoughts.
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay, yeah, cool. Ditto.
Yeah.
Full body dittos.
They,
Got it.
they just had a better way of explaining it. Like there's just so many thoughts in my head because I just know too much.
Yeah, you have so many thoughts, it's coming out in the curls. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've really been going against the Eglet way of thinking.
Yeah.
Head full, too many thoughts.
I adore the relationships between us, which we all like. Like I love the black cat golden retriever duo. I think it's so fun, and I actually like them as a couple in the movie. There's my monkey mate, like it's so fun. It's my monkey mate.
I'm sorry, that is like the least sexy thing you could say to your partner ever.
He's climbing the tree like this. She's like, that's my monkey.
No, but like, could you imagine in like any sort of romantic context that being construed as a compliment?
Yeah.
I think it's a compliment.
Okay. We'll agree to disagree.
I
No,
think
I'm
it's
agreeing
fun
to.
because she's
I'm
so.
agreeing to agree.
Okay.
Oh.
Don't think about it.
And then I think Alice has a good relationship with us two. Is us three are unproblematic, I feel. Like, yeah, we bicker a lot, but on the whole.
I also believe that like Alice and Jasper are like monogamish. I don't think
Yeah.
you cannot look at that couple and tell me that they are straight. Completely nothing queer here.
Nothing queer here.
Nothing queer here.
Everything.
Mm-mm.
Heterosexuals.
Only.
Only. Only heterosexuals in the room. Yep. 100%.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there a heterosexual in the room with us today?
Yes.
It must be their lunch break.
Is that? Yeah. Who needs it anyway?
Who needs them?
Sorry.
No, I love that.
Oh, I say. No, I love them. We love them. We love them. We're not hating here.
Spending as much time as we have analyzing and engaging with Twilight content makes me feel a little crazy because I am now realizing just how uncomfortable every single relationship in the franchise is. And honestly, I'm Team Charlie. Just anytime Charlie is just like, what's happening? Why is this happening?
No,
He's the only real person.
Jamie's ruined. Jamie has ruined Charlie for me.
Low key.
Well,
I get it.
Slow
I
walk.
get it.
Slow walk into the kissing scene.
what's the thing where he's like, love you, B. Nah,
Love
B. I don't know.
you,
I
B.
don't know, man. Like, I love what he's with him, but I can't. Charlie's
B.
not so innocent anymore. He knows what he's doing.
He knew exactly what he was doing. It was a little terrifying and incredibly creepy.
Exactly.
Okay, guys, unfortunately, this podcast doesn't need to be 5 hours long. So
I think we could go on for at least 6.
I think we definitely could because I miss you guys. I miss you guys, but for the sake
Yeah.
of all of our snack cakes listening,
Of course.
we could probably continue our conversation off the pod and wrap up the pod for everyone. But before we leave, is there anything you want to plug? Anywhere you want to invite people to follow you, to engage with content?
I have something.
Ooh.
Anybody who wants to hire me, please. That's all.
Okay, understood. Got it?
You know, if you want to give me more stream a follow, it's BECDA__. And then we've got my TikTok, which is Rebecca with a double I, Daly with a double I. That's it. If you want to check that out. Otherwise, yeah, hi Anthony. And
Yeah.
me. If
Hire Anthony. Hire Anthony.
Hire all of us, please, for the
Yeah.
same show.
please.
Let us work together again. Yeah.
And if we're all siblings, we've done it before.
Yeah. We've done it before. Look at that old chestnut
Mate,
coming back in.
If we could be triplet.
Ah, yes, because
There's one
We
outlier
got
here.
that. We got
One of these
yes.
things is not like the other.
Our mother totally didn't cheat.
No, not at all.
Not at all. These all came from the same father. Anyway,
Mhm.
I would be remiss if I did not plug the Proshoot. You can buy it currently. Our Instagram, you should follow it. We'll put the tag somewhere. And on Spotify, all of our lovely voices are in all the lovely songs. That's now on Spotify and anywhere that you stream live music. So, without further ado, good night, Snack Cakes. Thank you for listening to Dusk, a 2-Lit podcast. Bye.